welcome to Launch Today, the podcast focused on what it takes to get your business or startup to $1 million or more in revenue. From marketing tactics to incredible guest interviews, we focus on sharing behind-the-scenes insights from masters in their field. If you want to grow the revenue for your startup or your business, you don't want to miss out on today, because today's guest is a data analytics wizard who transforms complex business challenges into streamlined AI solutions that buy back your most precious resource, time. Zulia Foresight is the CEO and founder of the OMI Group, providing comprehensive data analytics and AI services to businesses across industries. After transitioning from accounting to IT and then data analytics, she's now on a mission to make data magic accessible to everybody, helping businesses uncover insights that drive revenue and automate redundant tasks. Zulfiya, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
I always like to begin by asking, why do you do what you do?
That's a great question. I think I love what I do to begin with. And in the times like this, I'm so much more anchored in what I do because I see businesses struggle every day with their business operations just not being streamlined. They are losing opportunities left to right. And now that AI is here, is that the businesses that are onboarding the AI rapidly, efficiently, now could scale so much faster, and basically the ones that don't get left in the dust. And that's where I see that now I can help more people to help gain that revenue, scale that business, cut the costs, to make sure that they actually can compete and stay in business in the ever-changing landscape of AI.
I feel you. Somebody who runs a marketing agency, and I've worked with hundreds of clients in the last 5 years. One of the key problems that keeps cropping up is they don't really have good data attribution throughout the entire journey. And so they think, maybe this makes money, maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
So having good analytics makes a real difference.
Yes, good analytics are also the AI agents, right? In terms of now, if you're onboarding AI system, what is ROI on that system? How are you measuring it? That it's actually performing well, that is actually giving you money and giving you that return on investment. Like, very good thing that you just point out is marketing attribution. We have top 3 analytics that every executive that I ever worked with looked at. That was executive dashboard, just the overall performance of your business. Then there was marketing attribution dashboard, and there was a retention dashboard. So 3 dashboards that every executive, not on a monthly basis, on a daily basis. Your attribution is where your dollars are going to, what campaigns are you running that's giving you the most yield. Are you switching them, your strategies, or you waiting till the pockets are empty and then you left the what you have? And then when the business operation comes in, what I often see, people are, I want to go do the Google ads, or I want to go on Google Analytics, invest money. I need the transformation now. But then what happens is they have all these leads that came through, but then let's say the conversion rate is like really less than 2%. So what happened with those leads that have not converted, that have no shows but expressed interest? There's no business operation process that handles those leads. And then they look at for example, at the ads and they say, well, it didn't work. Or they look at the marketing people and they say, well, you didn't do a good job. I did not have a higher conversion here. But then you really need to look at the back end. What was your operations like? How were these leads that were captured, got nurtured, and basically, can we even handle those leads? Are we just wasting money left and right here?
Yeah, that ties very nicely into my next question, which is, many business owners feel overwhelmed by data because there's always more. Every time you look, you can dive deeper down the rabbit hole.
100%.
What's the single biggest mistake that you see companies making with their data that's costing them time and money?
Absolutely. Number one thing is not measuring it and also doing it manually. If they are putting it together, I'm just going to put together my Excel spreadsheet. That's not consistent because the time it takes for them to put together that Excel spreadsheet, by that time they already have the fatigue. They're like, oh my gosh, I spent so many minutes, so many hours putting this together. And now I have to do this tomorrow or on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and it gets forgotten or gets lost somewhere and it's not consistent. So I think not measuring it, not consistently measuring it and not automating the process, where now it lands on your hand and you're just quickly looking at it. And then all the related parties are looking and measuring their outcome on a consistent basis.
So this, I think, brings up an interesting point, which is you went from a CPA, from an accountant, into data analytics, which is one of the numbers. So
Yeah.
yes, I can see, but still unusual. You mentioned that discovering Visual Basic was your light bulb moment, and it's possible you are just extremely well preserved, but I think you're a good bit younger than me, and Visual Basic was like also for me one of those big moments. What made you? What was the discovery you had with Visual Basic where you went, "Wow, I can do stuff with this"?
Absolutely. So in olden days, I would spend a lot of time as an accountant prepping the financial reporting. Every month, same thing. Every month, you have to close your books, you have to prepare the financial reports. And I thought to myself, we'll do some expense distributions, bank reconciliations. And I thought to myself, there must be some better way of automating this instead of doing this over and over again. And I started digging around. At that time, there's no AI. So everything is very manual. There's lots of YouTube, there's some forums, for example. I used to love forums. Dummy down the data, ask a question, and the next morning is you're waiting like a Christmas present. You're waiting for someone to respond and what they say, and then go try it. Basically, that was my. That's how I started. And actually, somebody told me there, "Hey, you should try macro." And I started tinkering with it, and I loved the idea of F5 button. You just press one button, and all the repetitive processes that you have will start running on the back end. Your work will get started, and all of a sudden you have the end result. And I said, wow, this is amazing. I got to learn this. Then I started hanging out with the IT department folks, and I started seeing they press F5 buttons constantly. I'm like, all right, there must be something here. I gotta learn. So I saw a former boss, and he's like, come on, here, take a look at this. So it was millions of rows of data, and he just pressed one button. All of a sudden, all the visuals get updated. I'm like, this is amazing. Like, I need to learn this. This is magic. How did you do this? No more putting together these Excels, these formulas, this match and VLOOKUPs. Oh my gosh. So I had great opportunity to move into the IT department. And that's where I started learning the structured query language, creating the data sets myself, tinkering in the code, and now creating these reports that would be just evergreen. Once created, the data gets pulled in, gets refreshed. And I said, wow, it buys back everybody's time. It gives clarity, no errors, no human errors in terms of, no file gets corrupted. That's another one. It's a beauty one, because if you have multiple Excels that you have to do, your files now cannot open and freeze up. So that was my big moment, is helping people to buy back that time, my team members. And I saw so many hours or long hours every week from my team members at trying to late nights, trying to close their month, get the analytics going, each time doing this manually. So that was a pivot point for me.
I got you. Speaking about, I guess, buying back time, I'm a pretty bad developer myself, but I've recently found with AI, they're calling it vibe coding, right? With AI's help, suddenly I become middle tier. I
Yeah.
would not say I'm legendary mode. How much are you using AI in what you are building, which of course is enabling AI for those people?
Oh, I use AI 24/7. So I'm using beyond of ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a great, or Claude or Perplexity AI or Notebook LLM, are great applications and tools that everyone could use at a minimal cost. So the barrier to entry is very low, and it already gives you a huge bump into your productivity. You use it as your core worker, let's say, in every position that you're working in, you use it as a co-worker. So it can unlock you on some ideas, you can brainstorm together. But the next level comes in is then when we use these models and we create agents that now you can have a conversation with, or you can assign tasks to, and they go execute on your behalf. So no longer you need to go log in into the CRM system and then log in into your financial system and log in into some type of other transactional system. You can unite them all. And this is where data analytics, or I would say data infrastructure, is very important. As how do you unite all of those systems together into one source of truth that you can query from, the prompt from, using AI agent? And actually, it was a very interesting conversation between Satya Nadella, and also Mark Zuckerberg and Lelacon 2025. And that's where Satya Nadella talked about how SaaS is dead. This is like a famous phrase that you hear right now. And why is it dead? Is his idea was if you have a database, your front office becomes AI agents. Your front office are Teams, Slacks, WhatsApps, Telegrams. You can prompt starting from Teams. For example, how you have right now, let's say Microsoft using Microsoft Teams and you have your virtual employees. So right now we have a virtual employee that I can go, all right, can you please draft welcome email, onboarding email to this person? And now it's going to go and start the workflow of collecting the data, putting together the email that I would need to come back to me and says, email is ready to review. Go take a look. Basically, I'm going to take a look. If it's all good, I press the push button, send button. So this is what they were talking about, is that you unify all these different systems into one single source of truth, that now you layer AI on top of it. And you give instructions to your AI to go access those systems and put together things that you ask me to put together. Isn't that wild?
That is. It's crazy.
Yes.
I, quite a while now, 5 years ago, invested in what has become one of the top marketing automation, beg your pardon, just general automation companies for Zapier and Make It, all those in North America. And what they do in a broader sense is look for, their goal was to automate away 1 billion hours of uh, automatable work, right? So humans can focus on what I think we still have the edge in, which is analysis, particularly when the data isn't perfect.
Yes.
Because AI does great when you have all the data,
100%.
but humans still show up when you don't have a full picture and you have to use the gut, right?
Yeah.
So you're all about the data. You're all about this analysis. You're using all this AI. When does the human element come in to make this AI and this automation and this kind of the part of the data you're pulling in something that's actionable?
I think the human will come at the beginning and at the end of the process. At the beginning, setting the criteria, in the end, reviewing the outcome. And that outcome can be divided by milestones. It doesn't have to be the end result. Depending on what the AI agent should be performing, the human can come in and set the criteria, set the guidelines, the requirements, and the tasks, and assign roles. And then at the end, once it goes out and performs these roles, it will evaluate the result, output that it's giving. And then based on that feedback loop, you will fine tune the model, basically AI model, to perform better. And then the loop goes on and on. So the way I see this is almost like, think of it, AI agents as a new way of hiring someone. Actually, this is what we're building right now. Literally, as we speak right now, building platform that you can log into and you can hire AI agent, whether it's admin agent, whether it is sales assistant agent, where it's a marketing assistant agent, or where is it AO agent. So these agents will have experience in your particular field and know and will have a technological stack. You know how you look at the resume? Most of the times, my experience in this many years, these are the technological stack that I'm familiar with. For example, I know how to use Microsoft products, Office 365. I know how to use Slack, right, with Jira's, or I know how to use CRM, go high level, HubSpot, Salesforce. And then you could say, after this, these are my tasks that I've been doing. And I have this many, and the more you will use them, the more experience they will get. And then it could be industry specific. We're building ones right now in construction adjacent. So they're in construction adjacent. So it knows the CRMs and the systems that people in that industry use. And now it has experience performing the tasks that are related to those systems.
Gotcha.
So you literally go there and you like, hire me, and you just hire them. And then basically that's the idea. And then it's how you, in the same way as when you hire somebody, right? Usually they evolve with time. There's a feedback loop, there's a performance, same idea. The models, how they learn, they don't learn by itself. They learn through, probably notice on ChatGPTs, there's a thumbs up, thumbs down, right? The feedback loop. That's how these AI agents are also going to learn, by getting the feedback.
Got it. So there's a saying I'm sure you've heard plenty. There are lies, there are damned lies, and there are statistics. And it is really easy to take a look at. I've got a chart with 2 points of data. The line goes this way. I've made a conclusion. How do you coach founders and execs to look at the data and understand what is true versus the conclusions that they might want to draw?
100%. I've been working with a lot of leadership teams, with a lot of executive members as well. And most of the times, every system that's out there, they have some type of their own analytics that they give out of box. But what the practice has shown, that every leader has their own eyes that they look at, how they would like to look at the data. So they usually come up to me like, all right, I have this spreadsheet that I've been putting together. Can you automate this? I'm like, sure. So I take that spreadsheet and I automate it, and I basically create a dashboard that's now living evergreen. But then we start looking from perspective of marketing, right? Now that they have dashboard that's ready to go, now we start looking at the business processes. What's happening with where your leaks are, where your gaps are, what's happened with 2,000 leads that came in, but only, I don't know, 2% converted. What happened? What happened with the follow-ups and no shows and cancellations? What did the drop happen? Do we have a processes that consistently follow up, that get those leads in the system, in the CRM, for example? What does your operations look like? And then now that these people are converting, well, okay, your conversion is 2%. Do you have processes that will, if you now conversion went 20%, can you deliver what you promised? Can you accomplish the projects that you've promised? Do you have processes that are, for example, you get on a call with the client, now you have a project. Do you have that project automatically being created based on the call that you've did and assigned to corresponding party, and all the details have not been missed? Do you have a process that if you're putting together some type of a proposal for them, or some type of a document to give them to, how is that being put together? Do you have teams that manually have to fetch the information and kind of put it together, or do you have a research assistant that you can automate that can do that research for you? Kind of basically, what does your sales order look like? What does the workflow look like? And what step of that workflow could be automated to help you to get more clients, do more revenue with your existing resources that you have right now?
So a lot of people I know in the white collar work, the knowledge worker space,
Yes.
are concerned about the fact that if the Satya Nadellas and the Sam Altman of the world are correct, by like 2030, they're saying AI will be able to outthink a human in any arena.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a concern? Do you think there's ways to prevent against it? Where do you come down in the AGI concern?
Absolutely. I think it should be concern for everybody. I don't think we should be sitting here and like thinking things might change. I think we need to act right now, be proactive, and do things that we can control. And what we can control is, what are we doing? How are we equipping ourselves with the latest, I'd say, technologically advancement that AI offers? How are we using it, not only in our jobs, but also create opportunities for ourselves? So what I mean by that is, you can use AI, for example, to get better at your job, but how can we also prompt it and come up with ideas for us? Maybe there's an additional side hustle that we always wanted to start, and we didn't have the resources or ideas or capabilities. Now with AI, you could just stepping back. Actually, when I was learning structured query language, right, it was so painful at that time. There was no AI. It was just me basically sitting on Google's and YouTube's and forums, and it took me hours to learn this, days, and everything I've learned, I kind of self-taught myself. So it was late nights. It was a lot of commute time sitting there, and like on weekends. But now you have the AI. You can learn anything like this. You can have it being your tutor. You can listen to it. You can take a long formatted text that you want to consume, and you really want to read it. You can feed it to Notebook LLM, and I'll have a podcast about it that you can listen while you jog, while you walk, while you wash your dishes. Just so many ways of learning things so much faster. And now you can use that tool to create some type of product, MVP product, like you mentioned, vibe coding, right? You lovable bolt that you is now open for everybody. Social media is free platform for you to get on and talk about your stuff and have people see if people are interested. So there's a lot more shots that could be taken and faster than before. And I know it can be overwhelming, but at the same time, I think we need to change the lens a little bit. And I was very grateful to attend Harvard Entrepreneurship Summit this year, and I met in person Arvind as the CEO of Perplexity AI. I asked him a question. I was just so excited about this because I asked him a question, and that answer went viral on all of the social media. But nobody took me taking like answer and asking that question. So I was like, anywhere I see it being posted
Thanks, everybody.
on Evolve AI, I'm like, that's my question. I asked that question that he's answering right now. But anyways, I asked him questions. What strategic bet that Perplexity AI is doing in next year or 5 years? And his answer one year? No, I'm looking quarter because AI is changing so fast and things that are being done in 2 years now done in a quarter basis. So to answer your question in 2030, that would be really hard to know. But right now, what's in front of us? How can we use the tools that are in front of us to evolve with it and to improve and grow ourselves? I think that's the focus that we need to be focusing on. I'd say that's the question that we need to be focused on more.
I get it. I think we still have at least a while where even after, if there is an AGI, its resources will be constrained enough that not that it won't matter if there's something smarter than your average human, but there'll still be work. Right up until the mid 2000s, the most popular processor was an 8088 from the early 90s because it was used in almost every industrial application because it was a simple processor and literally every single element of the bugs, features, everything. There were no undiscovered parts to it. So they were using this really old, outdated chip everywhere because it was so reliable. And I feel like the mutability that certainly you've shown, right? You went from CPA to now you're on the cutting edge of AI is the future, man, and we're doing stuff. And that showcases the reconfigurability of our brains. I feel like there's a long time before that stops being valuable.
Yes, but I agree with you. And you already see that a lot of companies though changing the trajectory. Duolingo, Spotify, Microsoft, Meta, it's going to now it's going to go from these big tech to S&P 500, and it's just the wave is coming. So we just need to be prepared for that wave. That's what we need to do.
Let me ask, I guess. You probably work with bigger companies than I do frequently. I tend to keep my preferred clients are usually under 20 million a year just because I find them more fun to work with. How much institutional inertia do you think is going to slow down the rollout of the kind of things that you are seeing and I am seeing into these bigger organizations? Are they being really agile and I just don't know? Or are they like, ChatGPT sounds like this is all the devil's work. We don't want this here.
100%. So there's a lot of questions about security. There's a lot of questions about data privacy. How is it being processed? And another thing is there are a lot of systems that don't even have public APIs access. They closed. So if you don't have any public API, you don't have a developer access to it, AI can't help you because the data is closed. There's no data, AI cannot do anything about it. So I think there's a lot of reservations. And also at the same time, what I see is smaller businesses, like you said, under 20 million, they much more agile than the larger companies because they just want to move fast and they don't really care as much about data privacy and security as much. They just want to, or compliance issues, which I think everybody has to care. But I'm just speaking the truth right now.
Yeah.
You have everyone is putting in ChatGPT their financial information and all of their basically, and they're using ChatGPT as a fractional CFO right now.
Yes.
That's it.
I've understood that so many people have put their API keys for everything into ChatGPT that it can just produce valid API keys for a bunch of stuff as a hallucination, and so you're using somebody else's credits.
Yeah, lots of things like that. See, that's what I'm saying. So what I see on the larger, but here's interesting thought. If there's a company, for smaller companies, probably all right. You're putting your ChatGPT and making sure under your data controls, you turn off training for everybody off. But then for larger companies that are actually looking to scale, trying to get funding, maybe trying to have investors being interested in their company, this is when they start thinking about, all right, what does my data processing looks like? What does my data privacy and compliance looks like? Because they want to make sure that in the future, they don't have any of these AI audits, any scrutiny that's coming from their investors, and they don't want to get funding calls because nobody knows when you transmit your data. If you're using DeepSeek, for example, that data belongs to China.
Yeah.
If you're using it over the internet, that data belongs to China. So a lot of people don't know this. They think, oh, it's free. I'm just gonna, use it because it's free. But the consequences of it, no, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I was fortunate enough, I was able to, 2 years ago, build and sell a little tiny AI startup
love it,
to lawyers.
love it.
And the whole purpose of it was it was a thin wrapper around Llama 1
Okay,
with a Whisper client to basically generate speech into
I love
text.
that.
And then we would generate we would transcribing thousands of legal
Yeah,
depositions.
and it was local.
And then,
Yeah.
yeah, and then all local, all running on either AWS or bare metal.
Yes, yes.
And ChatGPT isn't available to lawyers because they cannot risk
That's right.
something breaching. Now, if you buy ChatGPT super uber duper enterprise for $10,000 a month, supposedly they won't use your data to cross train. Will they in truth? How much do we trust Sam Altman? But when you want Llama local, you own it.
You download it.
Can't go anywhere.
That's right.
Because it's here on your own server. And so we had a very big law firm as a client.
That's
And
fantastic.
they
Great use
ended
case.
up they bought a license and then 3 months later bought the entire software. They went, we want it. And I went, there's no moat here, right? This is Llama plus Whisper Sync. That's it. Anybody could write it. So yeah, I'll sell that to you. So the need is increasing. And as you end up with DoD, we've been hearing about the Doge was using a fragmented Grok server to go look through, I think it was the Department of Veteran Affairs' entire database and try to model out efficiency and changes. But that's, okay, maybe you put it on your own server, but it's still Grok. It's still not your proper private data.
That's right.
I agree. This stuff is going to leak places. You think it's bad when your social security number leaks. Imagine how bad it is when everything you did in the last 3 years leaks.
That's right. And it's very interesting how, right, there's a two school of thoughts, right? Everybody's like, use AI every day in your business. And I say that, use it. You can just dumb it out a little bit. It's like you need to know, like, all right, do it at your own risk. Know what's okay, what's not okay. Have your own kind of the North Star there. But at the same time, if you're really working in healthcare, if you're working financial advisory, like you said, if you're working,
Yeah.
right, even if you're a small healthcare company, even if you're a small clinic, just like what you said, have it on the local, meaning locally. And here's, let me explain. OpenAI, Claude, right? Let's go over this. OpenAI, Claude, what else we got? Gemini, right? Those are all over the internet. So you prompt it, the data goes in, and then sends it over the internet. When we say locally together, we mean you literally download like you download a game, like you download the Loom, for example, on your computer. Like it's downloaded, it's sitting there, so it's locally. Basically, that's what and OpenAI models and as well as Llama, not Llama, OpenAI and Claude and Gemini are not downloadable. You cannot use them.
Yeah.
So that's what I see, and I see a lot of people don't have that distinction. And I love what you did with the law firm, and that same thing would apply to healthcare and financial advisories as well.
Yeah. Okay. As you can probably tell from the books behind me,
Yes,
I love a good
I
book
love it.
or audiobook or like ways to get data in, right? The phenomenal thing about reading somebody else's work is it's time travel, it's brain sharing, it's utterly insane that I can get a hold of someone's brain from 1949 if I go grab that National Geographic and see what they had to say. And of course, when I write, I teach myself what I'm thinking, which is also tremendously instructive. But is there a book or audiobook or podcast or something that you think founders should read or listen to or whatever to make themselves a better founder?
Better founder. So many books out there, but I would say the one that I liked a lot is Nike Shoe Dog. I love that book. Was a really great book about grit, how to navigate in times of uncertainty, because things gonna get pulled out of the rug. And you think that the minute you think everything is great, the next minute you're gonna get slapped in your face and things is gonna go sideways. So what do you do? How do you deal with that? And Shoe Dog is an incredible story of how someone founded the company out of nothing, the risks that they took, and how they navigated in the times where the contracts fall apart, where they got sued even. What did they do? And now they're still here. They're one of the best companies. I think it's a really great book that teaches resilience.
So I like, see, along that idea, there is there are some interesting stories to be had in Sprint, which is about building design sprints.
Okay.
I also like high output management, which is it's old now. It's from the 80s maybe or early 90s, but it also shares some stories from the founder of Intel. Oops, are you still there? You're not still there. You vanished. This is one of those moments where we say asparagus and hope that you return. It's just me. I actually have enough. I could drop this if you don't show up in a few more minutes. We'll start from nowhere. Kabing. That LinkedIn. Kabing. There we go. No worries. Yes. Can you hear me? Awesome. All right. So no worries. We'll cut around that gap. So this is why we record these things in advance. Okay. So books. I think I mentioned Jonathan Zaremski's Sprint and High Output Management by Andy. What's his name? I'm gonna look up High Out. I'm looking it up because I've forgotten his name. Output. There are some people who can hold all these book titles and authors in their head. I admire them, but I am not one of them. By Andrew S. Grove. Those are both good books around kind of some of the war stories of building and growing. High Output Management is a bit old now, but I am also a bit old now, so I think it works okay. Cool. I very much appreciate your time today, Zulfiya. I think you shared some really interesting things about what's going on in the AI space, how founders should think about data and building and automating a company. If people want to know more about you or more about OMI Group, where do they find you online? Ooh, look at that. I like the cross-marketing and the automation that you built in there. So, very nice. Excellent. If you have not already, be sure to like and subscribe this episode. Every week we have more insight from great founders just like Zulfiya. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Take care, y'all.